As Molly Rushing told us earlier, there is a magic for her that is Broadway. But it is magical and spiritual for those who are going to see the shows. Dr. Nick joins us this morning with more.
Love Broadway.
And you were
Love
talking
Broadway.
about the mental health aspects of it.
Whitney, for some of us, Broadway is analogous to someone's love for LSU football.
Yeah.
The theater has such power. And yes, it's spiritual power, it's mental health power. Ritual, you know, think of religion and spirituality and the rituals and all. There's ritual in theater.
How so?
We go because you have a line that you're waiting to get in. You all go in together like cattle. You get your little playbill, which is like an order of worship. You go take your seat. The curtain's opened. You're both entertained and yet also participating. And if you don't leave being moved in some fashion, either comically, like say hairspray.
Oh yeah, or kinky boots.
Or kinky boots. Yeah. Or if you're not moved deeply spiritually, like is in The Color Purple, or even Wicked.
Oh,
I mean,
I cry every time I see Wicked.
I've been going to New York since 1983, and I have. You can see all these. These are just a few of the 70 posters that I've collected over the years, and I've.
Does that mean you've seen 70 shows?
Oh, if not more, not more, and yet I've never seen Hamilton. But I look forward to it. I think it will come at some time. It took me a long time to see Wicked. You saw Wicked before me. Oh. But when I saw it at the end of the first act, I remember crying. I mean, there's something deeply, deeply moving about Broadway theater. And
may I say, too, that sometimes we have Broadway traveling shows that come here to the River Center. Certainly the Sanger has a beautiful array of and season that they have.
Yes.
And Leonard Augustus is a member and said, Whitney, I'm telling you, I've seen some of the same shows on Broadway and some of the same traveling shows, and honestly, they're equally as good, which is, I think, stunning.
Sure.
But I think it speaks to the talent.
Yes, it does. It does speak to the talent. One of the problems that I think I have is that I can develop a certain kind of elitism, or like Broadway is really where it's at. and I think it's fair to say, as we talk about theater, Whitney, we have good theater here. You and I saw a great show when we saw the Beauty and the Beast. A sister act is getting ready to come on. I never saw that on Broadway, but I bet you it will probably be a good show here to boost the local as well. But I would still say that if you want to experience theater at its finest, it will always be Broadway.
I think
it will
you're
always
right.
be Broadway.
But you told me something that I found shocking, is that I thought not Broadway, I thought the musical started in London.
No, I think it's like 1866, I read somewhere, where a 5.5 hour musical came out. That's a little long. But that was the beginning of the musical. And you'll still hear, what do you think of when you think Broadway? You think musical.
Of
I mean, there are the heavies.
Singing, dancing,
but even
acting.
Phantom, look at that as a musical, and that was drama. Les Mis, tremendous drama, but musical. A Hairspray. You know, and there's another beauty about Broadway too, is that you're entertained, but as I was saying, you're also participant. You're in it, just like you would hope to be in it in any kind of religious experience or spiritual experience.
True, it takes you into it.
Yes, and what's interesting about both theater and religious experience is you're in some ways you're escaping from reality. You're not in your element anymore. You're in someone else's element, and yet it touches you because of the universal experience. Don't you think?
I do.
You can't see a Broadway show without somehow, if it's great. I mean, there are some pretty rotten ones that don't last very long, which is the sadness because it takes so much to create a production.
Oh, I know. I'm thankful I've never seen one of those.
Yes, we've been very fortunate. But there's one other thing that I think is so fascinating about Broadway and the mental health aspect of it, is that you can be doing all sorts of things. You walk into the show at 5 minutes to 8, and you'll be out at 10:30, and there's New York waiting for you.
You're right.
It's like, again, almost its own liminal moment. You go to the theater, and then you come back into the world. So it's an escape from reality, but it's also an immersion into reality, and then you come out to this great city that's waiting for you, by the way, with its own theater.
Ooh, right.
Have you ever thought of New York as a stage?
No,
Think of New York, of course.
But of
I mean, of course. You just walk down the streets and you're watching. Someone said that in New York there is no typical American.
That's right.
Isn't that great? There is no typical. Everybody, you
can be anyone.
You're just like you walk into a pizza shop and it's a theatrical experience. Again, I don't want to take away from Broadway, but remember, it's immersed in such a great city.
You know what we should do?
I'm ready.
We should plan a Broadway getaway, like a big group trip, like people who want to go and people who want to see some things. Line up some shows, make it a 4 or 5 day event, and do it.
And then add to that, which I really love, afterwards, we've got to talk about it.
Oh, yes.
We've got to discuss it. We've got to open it up. Because again, too many times we'll go to an experience of theater and we walk out and we let it go. I think everything needs to be discussed. All of these shows, The Jersey Boys, great show, Phantom of the Opera, Hairspray, Color Purple. These are just a few.
Just a few.
But they're all reality that needs to be opened, as any religious elemental experience would be, so that it affects our behavior and our attitude and our lifestyle.
Yeah, I love to see.
Do you think I like Broadway?
I think you like it just a little bit. I could hardly get a word in.
I'm sorry.
I'm teasing. I'm
sorry.
teasing. No,
well, tell us
to.
real quickly about Wicked, because I know that was one of your favorites.
Oh, one of my favorites forever. And Something Good. That song, Something Good.
Oh,
I'm better because
good. Because I've met you, the friendship song.
Yes, yes. Even though they were rivals at first and then friends and then they went their separate ways. Yeah. And I just, there's so much power in it.
Power of, again, music. And you just listen to this and you're moved.
Thanks, Dr. Nick. More Weekends with Whitney after this.